why we're not hearing anything. Hey, there we are.
Hello,
Just
hello.
pull him down just for 1 second. Okay, go ahead. He didn't know that.
Hello, and we are back with you again this week.
Seemed like a month for
It does.
real.
It seems like it has been quite some time, quite a month.
Mm-hmm.
If you had any idea how much we have done in these last 7 days,
No,
then it would definitely make sense how it felt like a month. But anyway,
Mhm.
we're glad to be back. We are taking the journey together. I am Sharon Ozare, and next to me is Craig or Imar. And while he is doing what he
Digging
does,
around.
well, this is not dinking around this time. And while he is getting things set up the way he always does, I'm going to tell you what we like to live by, our belief system, I guess you could say, when it
Mhm.
comes to relationships.
Mhm.
We like to say we are going to relate. It doesn't matter what a mother, father, sister, brother, even Jesus says, we are going to relate. And but we would like for to teach people and instill in people the idea of relating in a balanced manner. And when we say a balanced manner, what we're talking about is not going by the old time standards of you can be friends but you can't be lovers, or you can be lovers and you can't be friends. We believe in the idea of having both in one person. Start a relationship and build it as a friendship, and then you go from that friendship relationship into a committed relationship as a and then the lovership. And at that point, you take that committed relationship and realize that you're in it with your friend, with your lover, and things will be definitely um, more balanced
Mm.
when you do that. Start off
And
with
sometimes more stressful too. I'm not saying at this
yes,
time between her and I, but sometimes it could be stressful.
it
Again.
can
Nope.
and
Yeah.
it is. So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Well, we want to start something new, a little different. Outside of the fact that we got waiting in our, what is it?
In the back room.
Back in the back room, I guess that's what you call
I
it.
think that's what it's called. Backstage.
Backstage. We have someone who
Yes.
we had before. I guess Cameron needs to look this way. Hey, you look this way.
It's good.
Yeah. So we're kind of excited about having our
Dr. Ferrante
yes,
Frazier.
our resident doctor. We're glad to see him. He's came back before. We didn't chase him away. He didn't chase us away. So we're glad to see him back again. We're going to bring him forward, and then we're going to start with something different today. Even though we were supposed to be trying to finish out what we were started before, about 50-50 is just not something in a relationship. It's really just not real. And that we also need to look at, in this case, quantifying our stress levels and making them into different numbers of, as we say, compared to being 100% you're on top of things and ready to go. And we talk about how quantifying a number would be. Like in this case, I can feel stress. I am probably about 70% right now, stressed for some other things to actually make this thing happen today. And compared to me being 100% on top of things. And then Sharon, I don't know what particular number she's at.
I am probably at an 80. I'm feeling I because I've gotten to the point in what all we have going on.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten to the point where I do believe that everything is going to fall into place. Everything is going to be good,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm
She
stepping
sounds
back.
good. She
And,
sounds good.
and I'm stepping back from the stress
She sounds
because
good.
yeah, and one of the things
Mm-hmm.
I'm realizing from just a few minutes ago is I
Mm-hmm.
need to step back from the stress because you're not.
Well, I would say that's that part we talked about
Yeah.
before, covering and
Yes.
making sure things are harmonious and friendly and kind is
Mm-hmm.
important. Sometimes you have to fake
Yes.
it till you make it, but that's very important because part of tolerating some relationships when pressure is on, stress is on,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a 70-30 situation and you're not 100% both of us, then sometimes you have to go through that toleration
Yeah.
and what's the other word?
Capitulation.
Capitulation.
Yeah.
And you have to put on your best face the same way you do at your job, the same way
Mm-hmm.
you do when you go into a garage. Excuse me, you go into buy groceries, go to Costco, the restaurant. Most of the time, you put on a pretty good
Happy
face,
face.
happy
Yes.
face to be able to get along in society. You ought to be able to do the same thing at home. I think Les Brown says
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we have to fake it before us to make it, before we
Fake
make
it
it.
till you make it.
Until you feel good, hopefully, to
Mm-hmm.
keep that relationship moving on. Because, the old saying, you want a relationship or you want to be right. Which one do you really want? Because in a relationship, you're not going to always be right. That's what it
Right.
comes down to. So I want to play something. I'm first want to bring the doctor on.
Yes.
And then we want to play something that I think is kind of
Short video.
controversial, but it's a video that I think that's important for us to see that really looks at stress levels, if you might want to say, between the cultural conditioning, black folks, black men and black women, and something that's been kind of going on for a long time on who's blaming who's
And
blaming what, and what else.
and when you take into consideration take a look at this and take it into consideration, you can also see where this can also be a
Mm-hmm.
part of that 50-50 relationship.
Exactly. Let's bring him in. Okay.
Good evening.
Hello there. How y'all two doing today?
We
Good.
are here. We are here. Your lighting looks even better than it was before, man.
Oh yeah, this is where I usually be at here in my office area, But last week I was kind of around the garden. I was out there gardening, and so I
Mm-hmm.
just came in because I kind of miss it and let time slip away from me. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to kind of fit in, get in where I fit in.
Yeah. Yeah, we understand that. We were kind of running real late today, I'll be honest with you. Hey, we'll take questions, everybody out there. Go ahead and choose. Please rotate in and out of the tickets. What's that?
I have no idea.
He's okay. He's okay. I see what's going on. A background engineer is being determined to distract me, and since I'm doing the engineering at the same time. But we're good to see that we've got some what do you call it? Advertisers doing our advertising time. We're going to make sure that we bring them up to at the same time. So that means, Dr. Fraser,
We
since
can
we,
run that along the bottom
yeah,
anytime.
no, I'll do that at all. So, Doctor, please, I got
No,
once I got to
no.
deal with him. Now I got to
I
deal with you.
I know. I'm
Anyway,
just making a statement.
Dr. Fraser, it looks like you are bringing good luck to us. We have now some what do you call it? Not supervisor, but sponsors who are part of our show too at the same time. So there must be some good luck that you're bringing right along with us to the show, and we're so glad at the same time too. It's all good, as the young folks say.
Well, you bringing me some good energy to my life as well. I've been after watching y'all two together, how y'all complete each other words and communication and stuff, and on one accord, man, it makes me try to accomplish that in my own house. So
Oh wow,
believe me, it's a
wow.
symbiotic relationship here.
Man,
Thank you. Thank you.
sometimes we wonder. Seriously, sometimes we wonder from
Yes.
there. But a balanced relationship is not perfect anyway. It's all about balancing. So let's keep it real from
Yeah.
that and keep it real and right. So I'm going to go real quickly to this video, and when you see it and I see it as it moved me and it moved Sharon, I think we could pull it into what we're talking about. It's a very controversial one. This brother stepped away from his usual position, but he spoke some things that are similar to some truths that we know of. Doctor, what was his name again?
Umar Johnson.
Umar Johnson. Have you ever heard him before?
Sound familiar?
Good seeing you. Someone said, good seeing you, Dr. Fraser. And Mr. Ellis, good to see you back again. He said
Yes.
gives great health information. All right.
Yes.
We've
Yes.
seen this
Thank
brother
you.
before.
That is definitely true.
So, Mr. Umar Johnson has made a new direction on talking about relationships and the connection of the the black consciousness, if you may want to say,
Okay.
specifically when it comes to our relationships in America itself. And I thought it was quite unique that he brought this up because it's not something he always talks about. And at the same time, he circled it mostly around our particular camp, African Americans, and didn't necessarily connect it to other things. But I'm gonna leave that alone, let you guys be able to make the
Okay.
decision.
Okay.
Listen. Okay, so we're gonna bring it up real quickly. Let's see how it works. What, sir? What?
Yes, sure.
It's already shared. It's up here.
Yeah.
So let me open this up. Let me just do it with this one. So no.
You got to get that out of there.
Yeah. I got to go over to it. You know, and then I'm gonna make it larger. Hold on.
I was trying to see how to do that on mine.
Because we try to act like the way sisters. I want to say this too.
Yeah, I'm gonna start this again. So everybody should be able to see. That is not. Okay, I can open it. That's good enough, sir. That's good enough.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back over. It should be a set. Go. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and fire this up. Here we go.
This to us though. Because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest. The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself, although imperfectly. She's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. You understand me? Most of our children are raised by a single mother right now. And it has been that way for about 50 years. So when a sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be your man. You ain't got to work or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back. I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality. We created that. And then we want to act like we didn't play a role.
We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection. See, what you're saying, you're selecting a poor mate. And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one. So of course she's going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. We are not. They out there killing themselves right now. What we doing about it? Unemployed black males. What we doing about it? Pants sagging, weed smoking. What we doing about it? Black men are not raising black boys to be the men our community needs. That is 100% our fault. What I'm saying is she got a right to be angry with us. She got a right to be angry with us. We have not been on our job as black men. If the men are the providers, what have we been providing for our community? I'm not speaking you individually.
Yes.
Because you may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. But guess what? What are we doing for the community? What are we doing for the children who don't have a father? You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she raised her voice, we say she's not humble enough. She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs to be
we was
more
loving
selective.
our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history.
If she's picking Pookie and Ray Ray instead of
you're making her a scapegoat.
No, she's picking a scapegoat.
No.
There's good quality men that they ignore.
Why she even got it? Why is there even a Pookie in the selection?
You gotta ask her that.
No. I'm gonna tell you why there's a Pookie in the selection.
What?
Because black men have abandoned black boys and have allowed social media, white media, athletes, and rappers to raise them. That's why she with Pookie. If she would not have a Pookie. If we're going to be men, the first thing we got to do is take responsibility for why our women feel the way they feel. I want to say this to us though. Because
Wow. Can't hear you.
Oh, I almost thought I should play that again.
Right.
It was by accident, but I almost thought I should play again. Okay, so we got a boatload of information. Some people would say we got what's it called? Not a firelight. What's it called? gaslighting. Someone would say we just heard some gaslighting too. So I'm gonna tell both sides of the story just real quickly. But that's a boatload of information to hear a doctor speak that. We've seen him live when he was here in Richmond Hill. I'm scared, Richmond Hill. Oh my God! And Savannah, right. Sometimes some years ago at the same time. But we got a boatload, and hopefully we're tied in to that 50-50, the stressful thing that we go through as Black folks from a universal us point of view, outside of us as individuals. I'm gonna let you go ahead first, Doc.
Well, my thing is, it was a good debate. You know, I actually see it from both ends, from what he's talking about and the other guy that didn't really have enough talk to say what he had to say. You know, but both of them, you know, are coming from a good conscious state. You know, I think they're at different consciousnesses. That's why they debating. They're at a form of reason. I feel that, you know, it's not really anybody's fault, you know, especially like when you say we're talking at a Black conscious level, you know, well, the Black conscious level was created by a universal conscious level. You know, it's like a hierarchy on this thing. You know, it's dumbed down, stepped down until it get to the individual person. You know, the individual make up the collective conscious in the Black community, the white community, the other so-called communities. They create the universal, you know, consciousness. But it's not just Black men who've done anything. You know, who created the Black man consciousness? You know, what got him, you know, where he want to sag his pants and want to smoke weed all day and do these things. You see where I'm coming from? It's not like he woke up out of his mother's womb. Oh, I'm smoking weed today, and I'm, you know, you know, that had to been learned, and it been learned so much and overlearned that now it's like a automatic tape running his program, you know. So that's the blame kind of pushing. I kind of stay away from. It's like how y'all show kind of teach what I've learned so far. It's about just raising awareness. You know, I'm just going to show awareness. I'm going to show you what it is. If you notice when Jesus more or less said, "Hey, you want to you know, get right, just follow me." He ain't really say, "Hey, what you're doing is wrong. Stop that, stop that, stop that." No, he just said, "Hey, I'm just going to be a ideal picture for you, and you just reflect what I do, and you'll be your better self. You'll be at your you know, your higher self, your more enlightened self, your light self, you know." So that's just what I get a little bit from it.
Okay. I won't say my piece. Though there's some things you can tell me physically saying, yeah, you're right about that. Yeah. But sir, I want you to give your piece. And I want those who are watching to please don't be scared. Don't be uncomfortable. No question is done. No thought is done. Go ahead and text us and tell us what you think, what you feel about what Dr. Umar said. Otherwise, I'll play it again. But anyway, what you said, what he said, and what he thought about it. Very straightforward, very raw. Also talked about, you know, us Black men taking responsibility. And I'll just leave it in that little crux, that little hole right there. Us Black men taking responsibility. Sometimes that's an uncomfortable thing to hear us Black men talk about taking responsibility from that end. But Sean, I want you to talk about what you thought about it when you saw it.
Okay, when I saw
from a Black woman's point of view.
Yeah,
of course.
I didn't focus on the Black man taking responsibility part. What I focused on was what I heard him say was women have been hurt. No woman wants to run a family by herself. Whether there's a man in the house or there's not a man in the house, no woman wants to run the family by herself.
I don't think you can make that blanket statement, but I'm gonna let it go. He makes a lot of blanket statements, but I don't. I think there's some women now who have no problem to run their own family, and they would come out and say, "I don't need no man to run my family and my house being single," and I have proof, I have receipts because my children had came out and have did good in society.
Now, I'm just and I understand that. But I believe, and this is just my own personal belief, and maybe it's biased because of who I am, but I feel like women who say I don't need a man, they're saying it by default. They don't really believe that there is a man that is going to supply all their needs, desires, and wants. And so rather than continue to go through that disappointment, they set themselves up to say, I don't need a man.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I say I don't believe that there's a woman out there who is choosing to run a family, run a household alone. Everybody wants to be with somebody. They want to share all those responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
But getting back to what I felt that he was saying is that Black men need to understand, or at least acknowledge, that Black women have been hurt. They have been hurt because their fathers have disappeared for whatever reason, whether it's choice, death, or he and mama weren't getting along.
Like mine, I came out of that
Yes.
same situation. Yes.
Or their boyfriends have been hit and miss, here today, gone tomorrow. As long as things are going his way, everything is great. When it's not going his way, he's gone. Or there are those men that believe in running things with an iron fist, and that does not work either. And so that's why I feel like a lot of women have been hurt. Long-term relationships, short-term relationships, they go awry. That's more hurt and more baggage that you're carrying around with you and not knowing how to release. And I felt like what he was saying was Black men need to be aware of that. Not that they did it individually, but their counterparts did. And for that reason, they need to be more patient with the Black female and take time out to prove to her that he is not like everybody else. And give her an opportunity to be angry, to be upset, to be mistrustful, but all the time working to prove that not all men are deadbeats, not all Black men are deadbeats, not all Black men are useless, and that there is one standing before her waiting to be what she needs. But in order for him to be what she needs, he's going to have to bow out of what he needs more times than not. And so that's where that patience comes in. And that's what I felt like he was saying as far as that part was concerned.
Wow, wow. Now see, you could tell she's apologetic. She's apologist for Umar Johnson. You could tell he was speaking this time towards Black women. He don't always get good rapport with Black women. We want to let you know right now, brother, that brother. So this time, for some reason, he's shifting towards getting some good points. If we're using that scale of numbers, he's doing about a 50 and 60 in this particular case of trying to, in turn, say, well, he said something good and pulled my wife in that particular matter. I'm not saying everything she say is bad. I'm not saying everything she's wrong, but that is definitely her feelings totally about that matter, and you can tell it's apologetic from the standpoint from that point of view. Let me ask you something, Doctor. When you heard him, there's that your life you could take responsibility as a Black man, but on the other side, there's that other life that has to do with all, universal all, that you also should be responsible for. Do you look at that as being maybe dualism within his own self, or what? What you're feeling?
It's a hard shoe to fulfill, in other words, to the point where, if you being a person who you are, all you can be is who you are, and when you come into a woman who's been bruised, battered, and all that, all you can still be is who you are. Now, I can understand, she may have grown up around a bunch of people who show no love, who she probably, attracted a bunch of, weak men around her. Mm-hmm. Now, when a strong man appear in her life, and now she's still reflecting that negative, she can possibly bring him down to that weak state. Because I've seen some women take a strong man and turn him into the very thing that she hated, or other women later gonna hate. You know what I mean? So
you mean the Samson and Delilah syndrome?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So it's gonna tie back to, taking responsibility, like she said, you know what I'm saying? But how can you take responsibility if you don't know what you need to be responsible of? And so that's why it takes, for someone to come bringing good news. This is what, this is a better way to live. This is a better way for you, come there shining the light on your darkness. But there's no light bearers anymore into the world. Black men being light bearers. You know what I'm saying? We got the problem. We know there's a problem. I mean, we're yelling about it, we're fussing about it, we'll get in the street and fight about it. But to actually be the difference, you're not seeing that many of them who gonna take that walk, and march towards, teaching people how to become what we want to see our, black guys become themselves.
Brother, when you speak that, I have on my own Facebook, I have over 5,000-6,000 people that follow me. Been that for a long time, and I have a lot of brothers and sisters who are what you call woke conscious, however you want to call it. And a lot of, especially most of these sisters that seem to be down that conscious road, God road, goddess road, whatever you may want to call it, that they spit out. They have a lot of this. Either you do or we ain't doing this at all.
Right.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
The come across is, if I'm truly into myself from a spiritual point of view, if I'm really aware of who I am, I'm not letting any negativity, I'm not letting any low energy, I'm not letting any, I'm attached now people to it. I'm not allowing any black man who's not consciously concerned about me to be part of my life, period. You gone.
That's right.
You're gone. You know that. Now, that doesn't sound too good if you listen to what Doc was saying. And I'm talking about, if you flip the philosophy around, you could say to those who are conscious, black men have the same conscious, and they would say, well, then I don't want no woman around if she's bringing that garbage. I didn't cause it. I didn't make it happen. So then why should I be responsible for it if I'm a spiritual being concerned about my spirituality and my growth, knowing that this will be a problem and not a uplifting kind of relationship to me? What's your thought on that?
Well, like I said from the get-go, there's a conscious state. And I know I keep saying conscious, and I don't know if most people are aware when I say a level of consciousness. That just means that it's a level of perception, how you perceive a situation, where we can see the same wreck, and each one of us can give our own perspective or view of what happened, you know what I'm saying, in that wreck. That's so we all gonna come from our own state of consciousness, how we saw it from our own angle. So when you have a personal angle, and your personal angle has been warped by watching your grandmama and daddy, your mama and daddy, your uncles and aunts, relationships. Now your perspective of life is going to be reflecting, that what you've experienced. So when you come seeing a relationship, you're going to say, well, I'm not going to have it like this, or if a guy don't come here and give me all his money, he's no good. We got to even establish what is no good, or doing wrong, because some people don't see where a man have to bring all his money home, but some people say, hey, if he don't bring all the money home, so everybody got their own perspective of what a good guy is. What is a good guy? So what is good for that woman, or what's good for that man? You know what I'm saying? That's when you are equally yoked, because you might be a person who like to have, your money, and she might like to have her money. Them two will go well together. You know what I mean? But if you got somebody who like to take the guy's money, or or a man who don't like to work and like to have the woman do the work, well, if they could bond and cooperate under those conditions, then fine. But when we just put everybody in a box, that's why we never get no solution, because we put the black man in a box. If he's not acting like this, what I mean, then we got a problem.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And that's one of the things, the fact that we have a problem. And I think that problem could be solved if people would look at that relationship, or those people they meet, in a different manner. My mother had dementia, and she passed away because of dementia. But one thing I learned from that, as she was losing herself and talking to me about people that I never met, thinking that I was somebody I didn't know. And
Right.
I learned to play, and I just played along with her. One thing I learned there is when you meet somebody, you have to meet them where they are.
Yes.
And that's what we don't do. We always grab onto somebody or gravitate towards somebody with a preconceived notion. This is what I want. This is what this person needs to be. I will check out all the things of what I want, but the things that are not what I want, that's okay. I can fix them.
Right.
I can change them. I can, tell them this is how I want you to do. I want you to dress this way. I want you to eat this way. I want you to talk this way.
You want me to put on a shirt this way.
Exactly.
I had to do that because though this sister, boom, 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 I'm saying to you, it'll always roll that way. Okay, now go ahead.
That's right.
But I met you where you were.
Yeah, I was standing in front of you.
Hey, I go through the same thing too. Why you wearing that shirt? Okay.
Anyway, go ahead. I ain't gonna stop you, sister.
But basically all I was saying is we need to learn how to meet people where they are, and learn and decide from there if it's something that we can deal with or not. If it's not something that we can deal with, then we don't need to put that person or ourselves through that extra pressure of trying to change them. The other side to the fact that I played along with my mother and talked to her like I was whoever she thought I was. And even though I didn't know him, but the conversation was generic enough that I could do that, my sister couldn't handle it. She always wanted my mother to know that who she was.
So now you're going to throw your sister underneath the bus?
No, I'm not throwing her under the bus. That's a reality. I
hope she's not watching the show.
But even if she is, she knows that was a reality. Okay. She had difficulty because at first my mother would confuse her with her sister.
Oh,
and so she would, correct her and say, no, I am, and give her a name.
Mm.
And so
not rude.
Exactly. And so the thing of it is, we need to accept what people are bringing with them and not try to fix them when they're not ready to be fixed.
And that's better said than done. I'm gonna end it like that. That's better said than done.
It's a I don't know if you remember watching Coming to America, and when they had it where they were trying to find a princess for the king, the prince, Eddie Murphy in there.
Eddie Murphy, yeah.
They said that this lady who they had brought, they said that she was groomed to be a prince, like to serve the king and be everything he wanted. But they never said that they groomed him to be everything she wanted. You know what I mean? She just had to be everything to him. So. Yeah. But it's something that the video was saying, though, the young man was saying in the video that did, resonate with me, where he was saying that we need to raise these. That's the key word, raising them. We can't, it's hard to change, like how they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks or something like that. But, it's better to start with the youth, because that's what the forces are doing. They don't come at us older people and say, hey, I'm going to put some crazy stuff in their mind. No, they go to the youth. They go straight to the youth. They put it in their cartoons. They put it in their songs and all kind of stuff. Well, we want to change the world. Well, you change the world by changing the youth,
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Well,
hold on to that thought. Hold on to that thought. I thought it was going to be a good one. I thought when we threw in Dr. Umar, it was going to be a good one. So we got more to talk about. But we have to go to our sponsor. And after we go to sponsor commercials, we will be right back. So just stay with us. Is that the right one? Or is this one? No. Okay, it's this one. Oh, we are back. We're back again. And we were
talking.
Exactly. So again, we're still hot subject. Some people would say, what would I say? Fire. What again? A gaslighting subject. I think when you talked about the first time, Dr. Fraser, how from the universal point of view, Pan-African point of view, you may even call it, usually that us thing is strongly stroked. No doubt about it. Okay. But when we move into that universal consciousness that's beyond that, from the standpoint that color is really a construct, then from that standpoint, how can you really attach that kind of responsibility when we're monolithic as African Americans in the first place in that way? And then think it's like we try to do in other areas that's really fair and just. It's not really fair and just. It can't be from that particular end. So on that note, because I know there are still many out there on both ends of the rope, you got the spiritual ones that end of the rope that would say, yeah, I see that. But if I get that kind of mess coming to me, boom, I ain't got no time feeling sorry for you. I ain't got no time feeling social justice for you. You are on your own and you're not with me. And then you have the other side where you have some others. I'm not saying just black men, because I've seen both sides too, which is I'm going to be responsible. I'm going to try to feel responsible and do what I particularly can. But yet that other person on the other side says, I don't need that. I don't want that. I can do this all by myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's really raising awareness. When you raise, we don't have to change really in our black consciousness. If we operate from the higher self, we change total consciousness. If you change the collective consciousness, well, if the black consciousness is under the collective consciousness, it's going to get corrected automatically. Why try to change, one little thing when you can change the bigger picture? Why just color one area of the painting? You see what I'm coming from?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
When we get mankind, if we could get all kinds of men to, see, us as one being here operating for a common goal to bring light to the world, you know what I'm saying, or awareness to the world, then we won't have these issues. If you see in other, they tend to sometimes they pick their daughter husbands, and they pick their daughters for their sons and stuff like that. So especially in those foreign countries, they do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So so it just really just, if we could get them out of, well, long as they're in that mind of the self, the lower self, the ego, like type of self. Yeah, I'm not gonna want this, or I'm not gonna do this. You're speaking it, and those who say that they're woke and they're using this power of tongue to say, well, I don't want no man who's gonna do such and such. Well, you just told your subconscious mind, I do want a man, because your subconscious mind can't understand the not. You know what I mean? That negation. You know what I mean? So when you say I'm not sick, well, you just told yourself I'm sick. Well, that's what your subconscious heard. Anything you keep making your subconscious play into your subconscious mind, that's what it's gonna take. Now, imagine if you was trying to go downtown and you call a cab and the cab driver say, well, where you want to go? You say, well, I don't want to go to the mall. Well, you didn't tell him anything. You know what I'm saying? You just told him you didn't want to go to the mall. You didn't say, I want to go downtown. So he don't know where to carry you. He just riding, just carrying you all over the place. Is this where you want to go? Is this where you want to go? Is this where you want to go? So when you usually hear the black woman saying stuff like, hey, I don't want no guy who's going to take all my money. I don't want a guy who ain't got no job. You keep saying what you don't want, but you're never responding with what you do want. Even in our, when we're fussing, we're telling each other, well, the black man this, the black man that. Well, let's talk about what the ideal black man is. You know what I'm saying? If we can discuss that more, that'll be ideal.
Yeah, talk about discussing things. Hey, listen, where I'm going, sir, I'm gonna try to get a little. It's a shameless plug, but tell us where we're at. We can hear us in other places. Go ahead.
Okay. Other than seeing us right here on Taking the Journey Together on our Black Media at 6:00 on Thursday nights, and you obviously know that because you're here, unless you came in late, and now you know that next week it starts at 6:00. You can also see us on WRUU. No, you can't. You can hear us on WRUU, which is a radio station, our local radio station. And we are on there on Saturday mornings, 9 to 10 a.m. So see us here, hear us there. WRUU 107.5, I think it is.
Yes.
On Saturday mornings.
Exactly. And of course, what's the other one now? How about a regular driving? That one online. Did you talk about that?
I did.
Oh, you did both of them?
Yes.
Okay, I'm behind. I'm sorry. There it is. Now it's there up there now.
Yes.
Okay, how's that? Okay. Good.
Hey,
go ahead.
And I was also gonna
ask yes, Dr. Fraser, where can we hear and see you? Those who are watching, because we're doing cross kind of advertisement. We hope some of the people that see you also want to come to our show and vice versa. So tell them when they can see you and what time.
Well, I got a show called Naturalist F, Naturalist Fraser, where I teach holistic health and healing every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Now, it's nothing to do with medicine, herbs, remedies, or anything like that. I just teach them a lifestyle change that will definitely restore the body back to health and allow the body to heal, provided it hasn't reached a point of no redemption. And usually, even if it does, it still give you a ease at the end of the day. But also, they can get in contact with me at Savannah Natural Health at 912-227-9335 or email me at savannahnaturalhealth@gmail.com.
Okay, well, thank you very much. As Sharon and I were talking about, sometime talk to you about helping us out when it comes to that healthy physical side and working as we could use that help too, and hopefully we can roll down that way and give us that right direction. Getting back to that controversial again. We have a lot of, I heard you say before, programming that have been ran to us through our cultural conditioning. In other words, what we've been taught. Sometimes it comes down through generations that's still going on. How about this program that we have, mainly when it comes to the man towards the woman, which is, I am supposed to be saving you, or that man is supposed to be saving me. That savior.
Captain Savior.
A man, one time, a sister was a close friend of mine, said, Craig, I'm telling you, many times the way you project yourself, you got a Captain Savior thing written on your head.
Right.
And flash.
I did not feel good about when she told me that too. She was a close friend, but that was during the time, I'll be honest with you, I did not understand the philosophy as we're teaching now, a balanced relationship, that your friend could be your best lover and your best partner. At that time, she was a close friend, very close, but I was like, no way am I moving any closer to that whatsoever. And so that means most of the people that I was messing with, you saw that flashing light, they were not really friends. They didn't really want to be friends.
Right.
Yeah.
If we look at everything, if we really dig down and look at everything, if we believe that the universe don't happen by chance or everything is just at random, we'll see that there is reason in chaos, in other words. And people come into our world for a reason, to teach us something. You know what I'm saying? It might not be where we having this, romantic, euphoric love the whole lifetime, but we learn something. We learn how to be more kind. We may learn how to be more whatever. But we needed to be in that person. If that person is in our life, they can be the meanest person, the nastiest person, won't give no money, won't pay no bills, won't whatever. They there for a reason at the end of the day. Until you learn your lesson, you're going to keep attracting that test to you until you overcome it. So the best way to get issues out of us is to overcome them. You know what I'm saying? By raising ourselves up.
And we say also too, by looking at some of these wise teachings, these wise strategies, these wise what we call elements, these wise ways of changing energy that we tried to teach on taking the journey, trying to allow you to have a balanced, healthy relationship. And that is what we're now going to lead into that thing called what? 50-50, but it's based on what? That number. The number. You could tell in a relationship that you just talked about, where if you learn a principle that says, hey, we're going to go through stressful situations. I can use a number to actually determine how stressful I am. And my stressfulness based on the number is based on how many times when I was stressed out and I honestly could overcome it. compared to the times of a stressful situation I didn't, then you have a good way of comparing to where you are right now. Because it's certainly not like in your life, you're not going to have any stress. You're going to have stress in a relationship and in life. This is a good way that you can now determine through qualifying where your level is. And then it becomes a good way to not necessarily have to give all that backdraft. Well, I'm stressed today because I saw Aunt went across the street. The aunt looked at me and blinked my eye and I didn't like it. No, just give it a number and we know we're looking for 100%. Okay. And that other person give you that number very easily. So they should know it too if you follow the same path. And if you know that you both are not being at 100%, you're going to have to be prepared to do some things to be able to cover each other because you don't want to move into that area of trying to hurt one another and make each other feel uncomfortable. That's what the numbering system helps you to do. Of course, the other one is if the other person is 30 and you are doing somewhere between 80 and 90, you got it covered 100%. You don't have to stress out some more because other person providing.
Provided you allow them to be at 30 until they can.
Are you saying I don't do that sometimes? Since I just started, you saying I don't do that?
No, I wasn't.
I get the feeling that you are.
Well, I wasn't gonna put you on Front Street. But
you're gonna do it now anyway.
No, seriously. Sometimes when you are at 30, and I'm not saying you, but I'm saying you. Yeah. You don't want to have. You're not ready to move to 35 or to 40 because you're stuck in that dilemma. You don't know how to release it. And so instead of relaxing, doing your USA, whatever you do, your meditation or whatever, you keep dwelling on whatever situation took you to that low energy point. And all that does is bring you down more and more and more, which makes it more difficult to be covered.
You mean you keep on thinking about it, or the other person in the 70 does that? Because if the other person's at the 70s doing that, they're not really trying to look for they're really not trying to cover you.
Right.
Well, they're covering you some mess, but they're really not trying to cover you.
What I'm saying is sometimes you're not ready.
Well, I understand that it's our situation. I can't necessarily. It didn't want to set you up to be at that 30% because they ain't gonna do me no good.
Right.
Really don't.
Right.
And number two, at the end, being that you are hopefully somewhat conscious through that time, because we're not always that way, you are conscious at your own self that even though you may stay in that frozen pattern, I'm using the frozen pattern, then hopefully at that frozen pattern, you're going to be open enough to allow me trying to cover you to at least trying to cover you, kept you in that frozen pattern, but not necessarily trying to chip at you with ice, because it could happen. Or in this particular case, said, I got nothing to do with you because you ate.
Exactly. And so you need to recognize and accept where that other person is at that time. If you're at a 30 and I'm at a 70, we're at 100 together, but I need you to come off of whatever it is that you're on.
What she's trying to say, my brother, and me and you, when I speak this and say, you go, yeah, I know. Leave me alone. But anyway, that's what she's trying to say. It's just leave me alone. You know those times, don't you, brother?
That's right.
Yeah. And, hey, sometimes it is what it is.
And sometimes it is, but that is one of those situations that we need to be able to know our partner well enough to know that that's what it is. And I think I said it last week. It may be, let me fix you a drink. It may
you don't
be,
drink, but you mean time for me?
Well, that's me talking to you at that point. Yeah, because I don't. And or it may be, come on, let's go take a walk. Something to move you out of that space, out of that funk. And sometimes it is, I'm going to step away. You let me know when you're ready to have me in your space again. In the meantime, I'm doing this. You know where I am. You know what's going on. But that doesn't mean I just kind of leave you floundering there. I still will go and check back on you, to find out. Because, and this is a process that I'm learning too. I am definitely learning and planning. I had a test today and didn't do too well. But part of that was because both of our stress levels were low. And so, we neither one of us were bringing anything.
What you mean stressed out means ability to be able to handle stress.
Exactly.
That's what you mean.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we were not there because there's so much going on and so many things that needed to fit into these little pockets. And so once we understood where each other were coming from, it was okay, but getting there was very frustrating to you. And that's when I realized that I needed to step back from my frustration, from my fatigue, from my lack of sleep, and give you that opportunity to deal with all the other things. Mine was kind of on one level. Yours were on multiple levels. You were multitasking.
Okay.
And so
we started late, and I don't know if we have another show after us. I hate when that happens. We got 52 minutes into this, but I see it's actually 57 when it comes to on the hour. And unless Julius tells us that we can go on, or Zach, can we go on a little bit further to get our hour in here? Because we've got another 4 or 5 minutes. If not, we're going to have to get ready to cut off. Someone can get me a background into private comments. Let me go. But while we're waiting for that, what's your thought about that? Yeah, what's your thought about that, brother? In that scenario that she talked about, have you dealt with that scenario yourself in your own relationship? And what do you think about that?
Yes, a lot of times I've had clients, even with myself, but I've had clients where, you're looking into or inquiring to what makes the other person happy. In other words, so that's in relating, the I in relating. You know what I'm saying? Inquiry, inquiring to the other person's happiness. If you don't know what's making that person happy, then how are you going to make them happy, or what their happiness is? Happiness for me could be going digging, graves every Friday. And if a woman come and dig graves with me, and she might not be happy, you know what I'm saying, to dig graves. But that's what makes me happy.
If you found one, brother, you better keep her.
Right. So it's all about, inquiring about what makes the person happy, and then you take responsibility. Responsibility is at the beginning of relating. That's the R in relating. You know what I mean? So responsibility is first. If you give control to somebody else, you have no power in the relationship. But when you take responsibility to make it work, I'm going to get up and make sure that we talk. I'm going to make sure that we go for the walk. I'm going to make sure that, we sit down and eat dinner together as a couple and stuff. I'm going to make sure that we go on our dates, and, I'm going to make sure that I listen when she's talking instead of in my phone or watching TV or saying, baby, I'm going to get with you in a little bit. Being here now and being more responsible, man, that'll be amazing. So that's what I really got from what she was saying. She was inquiring and being responsible in trying to see what makes you happy and to keep you engaged in the relationship.
And I would say to those who are out there are very complex in that matter, meaning sometimes they say, I'm not about trying to make you happy. Yeah. I'm about trying to make sure I know what's happiness for me, and you should be knowing about it. Not good, because you may not know the love language. You're never going to find out the love language acting that way in the first place and thinking that way. But one thing is for sure, I'm just saying from our experience, you could try if you want, the numbering system that we just came up with, the numbering system, we did some study. It really helps. You don't have to do all that backstory. You just can look at the number and boom, you can move on. And we have such fast-paced lives right now. Sometimes we're doing things where we need to get things done right now at that time and then move on. What a better way to do that instead of have to rehash, redump, or dump for the first time when we can move on and we're adult enough to be able to handle it and move on. I'm going to leave it like that unless you want to say anything, because I think our time is up. It is 7 at the same time.
Also, but
Doctor, you get ready to say something. I can tell this.
No. I'm good. I'm just, you got me excited. I can go on with y'all for about another couple of hours.
I wish we could have to talk to Julius about that. We're going to let you go. We're always happy to hear too. At the same time, to be here. If there is an engineer in the back, it looks like his name is Zach. We want to go ahead and close off and say thank you. Take that journey together and make sure you enjoy it. And at the same time, remember, it is an adventure. It is an adventure. Is. Take it away, Zach. Is he going to do that?
like that. I 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 like that.